Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Lumio Station.
¿Qué pasa, Lumio Station? My name is 6FootHex or Leo, and I have for you guys today my top 10 favorite rock type Pokemon. Now, much like every other top 10 type of Pokemon that has been uploaded by other conductors on this channel, this is all 100% opinionated, unless you're Sacred Indigo, which is only 95% opinionated. But that is besides the point. So if your favorite rock types did not make this list, by all means tell me your top 10 favorite rock types. Just leave a comment down below and let us know. So yeah, now considering the fact that I've been Wi-Fi battling for a while now, most of these top 10 Pokemon are based off the fact that I have used them in Wi-Fi before and have battled with them. There may be one or two in there that aren't based off of Wi-Fi battling, but just keep in mind that most of these are based off of me using them on Wi-Fi or battling with them on Showdown or PO in general. So starting off the list, number 10 is going to be Crustle. Reason being is that when I was really heavy into playing RU last generation, Crustle was my favorite type of Pokemon to use just because of the fact that I liked to run Hyper Offense in RU, and Crustle had access to Spikes and Stealth Rocks, which was very useful to Hyper Offense in RU because there were very bulky Pokemon in there. And after getting up rocks and setting up a layer of spikes or two, you could definitely ensure that your opponent's walls would either be one hit or 2-hit KO'd, which would give you a great advantage in a battle. Not to mention that I actually really like Shiny Crustle. I don't know why. I think it's the green that like really catches my eye, but I'm very big on Shiny Crustle, and I don't like many shiny Pokemon, but Crustle is definitely one of them. So moving on to number 9 is a Pokemon that has recently come into my heart and that I have really grown to like, and that is Aggron, mainly because of Mega Aggron. Not to mention that shiny Mega Aggron looks like Galvatron from Transformers, at least one of the versions I know that I'm thinking about. Unfortunately, I don't know from which, like, I guess generation or series you could say from Transformers, but Mega Shiny Aggron reminds me of Galvatron, which is the powered up version or the Mega version of Megatron. Not to mention that that thing takes hits for days. I have been using it on a stall team that I recently made for 6th Gen, and along with Blissey passing off wishes, Mega Aggron does not die, ladies and gentlemen. Filter is a great ability. Not to mention that regular Aggron, in my opinion, actually also looks really cool. I remember using it for a small time in RU. Choice Banded Choice Banded Aggron was definitely a powerhouse in RU last generation, and I'm hoping to use it some more in UU. Now moving on to number 8 is Carracosta. Oh, I love Carracosta. It's really grown on me. I loved using it last generation in NU. Shell Smash Carracosta was easily one of the top 5 biggest threats in NU. If you've not played NU last generation, then you don't know the fear of Carracosta. Not to mention that this generation, with them introducing weakness policy, if Carracosta still remains in NU, I definitely believe that people will run weakness policy Shell Smash 30 Carracosta, because not only will you get a +2 from the weakness policy, you will get the +2 from the Shell Smash, and you'll be a +4 attack, +4 special attack. Although you'll be a +2 speed, Carracosta does get access to Aqua Jet, which at +4 stab adamant is going to be doing a lot of damage, if not maybe even OHKOing things, especially after Stealth Rocks and Spike support. So yeah, watch out for Carracosta and NU this generation, because that's definitely going to put in some work. So moving on to number 7. Number 7 is Tyranitar, and he fits the same boat as Aggron, just because I really started using it more this generation, especially because of its Mega form. I actually really like Mega Tyranitar, although I have not really used it much. My favorite type of Tyranitar to use is actually Choice Banded Tyranitar, which I don't really think is as good this generation as it was last gen, but it's still definitely very viable, and it can really help out. For example, if you pair up Tyranitar with, let's say, a Charizard Y or a Charizard X, you are able to eliminate your opponent's Latios or Latios, which completely countered Megazord Y or Megazord X, especially if Megazord X does not get up a Dragon Dance. They can just come in, Draco Meteor you, and you're gone, or Psyshock you if you're Megazord Y, and most Megazord Ys, from my experience, do not carry Dragon Pulse. Although some do, they will not appreciate taking a Psyshock coming from Life Orb Latios or Life Orb Latios. So Tyranitar is definitely a big partner and a big help for Megazord Y. Not to mention that Tyranitar is easily one of the best all you Pokemon out there. Yes, it does have a lot of weaknesses, but it's so versatile, and it can definitely be a big threat if you underestimate it or expect it to not be doing much of anything. So moving down the list, we have number 6, which is Bastiodon. Now this might seem a little bit odd, because Bastiodon never gets love. Nobody likes Bastiodon. I don't know why. In my opinion, Bastiodon looks fucking awesome. I love the design of it. It's like a giant shield, and for a guy who likes to play stall, a shield Pokemon is just, I love it. It's just, I love the design of Bastiodon. It takes hits for days. I remember using this in NU for a while, and it was amazing, especially with Wish support. Not to mention that in the anime, when Ash went up against the Steel-type gym leader, Bastiodon put in that work, man. I really like Bastiodon, because it's a shield. That's all it really comes down to. Plus the design is awesome. I know my explanation for this isn't all that great. I just really like Bastiodon. So moving on to number 5, we have Probopass, yet another NU Rock and Steel type. The reason why I like Probopass so much is because late Black and White 2 NU, before X and Y was being released, or it was after it was mentioned, I was really heavy into using a wall core consisting of physically defensive Musharna and specially defensive specially defensive Probopass, which was amazing. Probopass took all the hits that Musharna didn't want to take, and they made a very great wall combo. Not to mention that you could trap your opponent's steel types, especially if you ran a dragon type on your team, because Probopass does have access to Magnet Pull and Earth Power. And surprisingly enough, it does have a decent special attack set. I remember running a specially offensive variant in NU, and it did put in some work, although my favorite type of Probopass is the specially defensive set. I will definitely be using it this generation in NU, because I don't see it leaving NU, which is really good for me because I like Probopass. So moving on to number 4 is Rhyperior. This Pokemon holds a special part in my heart. Reason being is that I use this a lot in 5th gen UU, which was one of my favorite tiers, and I have actually been using it this generation as well, especially with the Assault Vest, which can actually take a pretty good amount of special hits, especially due to the fact that its ability is Solid Rock, which means you only take 3/4 the damage as opposed to all the damage coming from super effective attacks. And then you throw in an Assault Vest in there, and you'll be able to take special hits a whole lot better. And if you really wanted to be that guy, you could also run Rhyperior in the Sand Team, which means not only will you get the +2 in your special defense, but you'll have a very, very solid tank on your hands. Although the downside is that you won't be able to set up Stealth Rocks, but you'll most likely have Hippowdon or Tyranitar to get up your sand, which can set up Stealth Rocks for you. And not to mention, Rhyperior with Choice Band for a while back in Black and White was actually very scary. Choice Band and Rhyperior was definitely a big threat in early Black and White. Also, I remember a substitute Swordsdance set that became very popular, and I remember getting stuck by that. I don't know how well those sets would fare this generation, but I will definitely be trying them out once the tiers get settled more and I figure out what tier Rhyperior is in. So, moving on to number 3. Okay, this number 3 Pokemon is the one Pokemon that it became my favorite based off of the actual anime of the show. I remember the episode correctly. Unfortunately, I do not remember the name of it. It was Ash going up against the 2nd gym leader, if I'm not mistaken, back in 4th gen. I don't remember his name. He was the son of the guy who had Bastiodon. His name escapes me, but he was an archaeologist, and he had a the pre-evolution of Rampardos, which escapes him, like Cranidos. He had a Cranidos, and I remember watching the anime, and he evolved, and I was thinking, oh man, he's gonna use Rampardos against Ash. This is gonna be a great battle. And I remember watching that episode when I came back from school, and Rampardos was fucking awesome. I saw Rampardos go off, and instantly he became one of my favorite Pokemon from then on out. And then eventually I used him in NU, and let me tell you right now, practically nothing in NU takes a Choice Banded stabbed head smash coming from a Rampardos. You could also run a Sheer Force variant, which I'm not too fond of, but I really like Choice Banded head smash Rampardos, because that definitely punches holes in a lot of teams. So you guys should definitely try that out. when NU or RU gets settled. Now moving on to number 2, we have one of the 3 Musketeer Pokemon. We have Terrakion. You guys know I had to put Terrakion on this list, especially because I said this is mostly based off of me Wi-Fi battling and just battling with this Pokemon in general. Choice Banded Terrakion, let me tell you right now, if you have not played 5th Gen OU, you will not know the terrifying power of Choice Banded Terrakion. Even this generation, I don't know why Terrakion was ever UU. It was UU for like 2 weeks this generation, and they finally realized, well, shit, Terrakion's a problem. Trust me guys, Choice Banded Terrakion is one of the biggest threats that you'll ever see out there. Not to mention that it can run a very good sub SD set, because Terrakion comes in, forces a switch out, you can substitute on your opponent's switch out into their physical wall, you can then set up a Swords Dance, you'll be a +2, and you'll possibly destroy them with the Close Combat or a Stone Edge. So yeah, Terrakion, not to mention it's a very good Scarfer. It has base 110 speed, I want to say. It reaches 346 with a plus speed nature, so it's very fast and hits very hard, so I definitely recommend you guys trying out Terrakion. And finally off at number 1, we have this generation's favorite Pokemon for myself, and the Pokemon in my opinion that has one of the best designs in a very long time, and that is Tyrantrum. Now, I have really not used Tyrantrum on Wi-Fi or Showdown. I just really like the design of it, not to mention that as soon as I saw this, I knew that I was going to be using it while I was playing through Pokemon X or Y, whichever one I got. I got Pokemon X. That's irrelevant, but I really like Tyrantrum. I love the design. It looks fucking awesome. Not to mention that when it's shiny, it's blue. It's all blue. Blue is my favorite color, so that was definitely a big plus when I saw that it was shiny. Also, Tyrant is really cute. And then it evolves into this giant badass Tyrannosaurus Rex that is going to be a major threat once Rockhead is released, because Head Smash coming from this thing is going to be just as strong, or well, not as strong, but it's going to be just as scary as a Head Smash coming from a Rampardo. So I can definitely ensure you guys that we'll be using Tyrantrum once Rockhead gets released. I might even use it now once the tiers get to it a little bit more. But yes guys, that was my top 10 favorite rock types. I apologize if my explanation was a little bit off. I'm not very good at explaining things outside of like commentating Wi-Fi battles, but as I said, feel free to leave your top 10 favorite rock types down in the description, not the description, in the comment section below. Also, let me know what you thought about my top 10. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you hate me? Did you not like me? I don't know. Let me know. So yeah, I will see you all next time.